welcome in. I'm Ian Walker,
I'm Jesse James.
and this is our Week 13 breakdown. Our top 10, and we're going to begin with Jesse's 10th best team in the NFL.
Well, number 10, I have my favorite team in the league, the Cincinnati Bengals, America's favorite team. And the only reason I got them at number 10 is simply because they're leading a division.
Mm-hmm.
They almost lost to Tampa Bay. We know what happened against Cleveland. They play Pittsburgh next week at home, so we'll see how that goes, but they're entirely inconsistent. I hate them. They don't show up in big games. And speaking of big games, they have 2 games against Pittsburgh that are very meaningful, and they play Denver on a Monday night, and we know how they show up in big games.
Yep. Remember that Thursday night game against Cincinnati? Against the Browns?
Yep.
Cleveland?
And you remember also the game against New England?
Yes, I remember that one too. Both of those were Thursday night games. One was a Monday night, I'm sorry. But they're not good on big national stage games. Playoff games include that. But I have to agree with you. I have them at 10. They're on a 3-game winning streak. I just can find 20 other teams that are actually worse than they are.
Yeah, and I also think that it's the most deceiving 3-game winning streak probably in the history of sports. I mean, they're not beating anybody good. Listen, if Tampa Bay only has 11 guys on the field, they probably lose that game, and we're not even talking about them right now unless it was a little excerpt that I thrown at the end. Their quarterback plays inconsistent. The only good thing I have going for them is that A.J. Green is back.
Yeah, but Andy Dalton went back to mediocrity yesterday.
You know, he's always been mediocre.
But he had that one big game, and everybody's like, oh, Andy Dalton's back because A.J. Green's back, and he played like shit. But anyway, that's enough time on the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 9, who you got?
I got Detroit, and I don't think Detroit's...
They dismantled Chicago Thanksgiving.
Well, I mean, Chicago has no idea what's going on. Jay Cutler has no heart. Mark Trestman should immediately be fired for the 3rd week in a row I'm saying this. They sold their identity, they sold their soul. They're trying to become an offensive team. Their defense is awful. I'm just not sold on this Detroit team, even though they keep winning, and I'll tell you why. Outside of Megatron, they don't have a lot of weapons. Reggie Bush is constantly hurt.
Almost has 1,000 yards receiving.
Golden, I take that back. Golden Tate has played wonderful, but a lot of that's because Calvin Johnson's been hurt. They don't have a consistent running attack. Their defense is very good. I want to say that they have like the 3rd best rushing defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
They still have to play Green Bay to end the season. I think this is a playoff team, but I love Matt Stafford. But is he going to revert to turning the ball over in big moments, being the gunslinger that he is?
They're a good team. I like Detroit, but I have Dallas at 9.
You're crazy.
Just because we can't win a damn game at home.
Yeah.
We're under 500 at home.
But think about this. That's actually might be a blessing in disguise because if you make the playoffs, you'll be a 5th or 6th seed, which means you'll never play in the playoffs at home. You're 5-0 on the road. I did steal your stat. The defense finally got exposed, but you can still run the ball. Your offensive line had a bad day. And let me tell you why I think your offensive line had a bad day. You played a Sunday night game against New York, which was a hard-fought game. You had to survive the catch of the year, maybe the catch of the history of the NFL. And then you had to go play a hot Philadelphia team.
Yeah, they were that quick Sunday night Thursday turnaround was just what killed us. But I also think that our defense is terrible, but our offense has been keeping them out of the terrible situations. But if our offense falters, our defense can't save us. Period. End of story.
Well, I'm looking at these stats over on your computer, and I see something very promising. You have the 17th best passing attack and the 2nd best rushing attack. Now, the 17th is a byproduct of that 2nd because you're not throwing the ball nearly as much. Romo, he threw some interceptions, but Philadelphia, and I know I put Dallas ahead of Philadelphia. I still trust Dallas a little more than Philly just because Philly's defense, but Philly's offense looks really good right now.
I mean, Philly's offense looks really good, which we'll get to them later on when we get in the top 5. But moving on to 8 is where I have Detroit. We're different by one place, which is not a big deal. They're 6-2 in the NFC. That's like the third or fourth best record, and that's in their own division, which is pretty good. The only problem is one of those losses came against Carolina.
Yeah, but that was early in the season though.
Yeah, so it's not that big of a weight, but still, it's on your.
And they lost to Buffalo too, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I think Detroit was finding their way. I think that early in the season they started 0-2, didn't they?
Yeah. So,
yeah, and since then they've been what
8-2.
8-2. So I mean, 8 of your last 10.
I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah. I mean, I can take that for Detroit. Let's go to my number 8. I have Indianapolis. And I should have Indianapolis higher just because they're a division winner. Andrew Luck's had 10 300-yard games. He's breaking records. He's thrown for 4,000 yards already. I don't trust their defense. I don't trust their running game. Andrew Luck still throws picks. I mean, listen, he's going to be a great quarterback for years to come. He's still young. And every time they play a really good team, they got blown out by Pittsburgh. They got blown out by New England.
But the plus side is their winning games are supposed to.
Yeah, the winning games are supposed to win, which is
that's how you get into playoff games.
But this is what happens every year with them: is they'll be the 4th seed, they'll get a home playoff game, and they probably won't go farther past them just because the two number 1 seeds we'll talk about later, are very good.
I think they'll get a 3 seed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they'll probably have a better record than
New England, Denver, and then Indianapolis, because whoever wins y'all's division, which we'll talk about later, I don't think will have as good a record because they're.
Well, I mean, Indianapolis could still lose to Dallas, but I think you're right. I think Indianapolis at the end will have a better record than the division winner, unless Cincinnati just miraculously only ends up with 4 or 5 losses.